Welcome to the Push Podcast.
Episode 4, this is the Meathead edition. I'm Steve Machine Curran.
And I'm Kevin Big Daddy Allwood.
Big Daddy's in the house.
Today, we've got two special guests, as you can see.
Kev, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling very small and emasculated
There's
right now.
almost not enough room on the couch. But
Yes.
we have with us big boy here, Chris Cavalos.
Mr. Australia,
What's happening,
IFBB,
guys? What's happening, guys?
and William Jovis.
What's happening, everybody? Nice to
And-
meet you.
William, your federation was...
I competed in a WBFF show earlier this year, but I'll be moving on to IFBB in 2019.
How'd you go on that show?
I got top 10.
Top 10.
Top 10.
I didn't know they had a top 10.
Yeah, they got top 10, and the feedback that I got was not lean enough and posed too much like an IFBB bodybuilder.
So you were fat and you were... But did you have to wear wings? Is that the federation that you wear
I
wings?
I wore a silver G string, and I didn't have my wings on, but that was for the next one.
Okay, and Chris, Mr. Australia, twice?
Yes.
Junior Mr. Australia?
Once. Won Mr. Australia, won the Nationals, won the Amateur Olympia, and it's just, I won them all.
Okay.
I won them all. So it's taking the next step now, going to Arnold's.
So when you say you've won them all, how many times have you been on stage?
About 6 times.
And you've won it 6 times out of 6?
Yeah, I've won every show I've competed in.
Have you really?
I've won every single show. I haven't
That's-
placed second yet.
That's awesome.
I haven't placed
Congratulations.
second yet.
That's
Thank
a
you.
pretty good record.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kev. Thank you. So the track record's running good. We run smoothly.
So you like bodybuilding?
I love bodybuilding. I love bodybuilding, buddy. I love it.
So let's wind it back a little bit to when you both started. William, if you want to go, I mean, because why I got a bit of a soft spot for William because he as someone said earlier to me today, he pretty much stole my back catalogue of clothing from the 90s when I used to dress like the village people with Daisy Dukes, big work boots, big thick furry socks, singlets like this.
That's the way.
And the checkered shirts.
And the checkered shirts.
Yeah,
which I've seen you rocking as well.
the Lee Priest checkered shirts is where it's at, you know.
So what is it that resonates with you about that look? I mean, because I know you're intelligent enough to know there's a bit of irony involved.
Yeah, you know what? I'm so serious during the course of my day with what I do at work, and I get to come to the gym, and I'm lucky enough to be able to just have a bit of a laugh when I'm here. And
Sorry.
yeah.
Go.
And just a lot of that, so I just put something ridiculous on my leg day. I get those checkered red Lee Priest tops, and I just fucking go with it on the leg press, and I have a great time.
Because I think a lot of the time people actually don't realise that there's a humour in it. I think they actually think you take yourself seriously.
Nah.
Would you agree, Ken?
I actually thought he was a lumberjack coming into the gym. Do you own a pair of cut-off denim shorts?
I don't, but if you know anyone, or if you've got some in your cupboard, I'll be very, very interested.
I think his girlfriend does.
Steve might have a couple of shorts.
Chris, did you ever? You seem to dress like your archetypal
I dress
bodybuilder.
I dress in all different everything. I'm just go to the gym, go to work. I'm not there to look pretty, you know. So I'm there to do business.
What size t-shirt is that? That's got to be a 5XL, right?
7.
A 7XL.
Buddy,
Is
size
it?
7.
Are you serious?
You serious?
Size 7XL.
Do you have to pay?
Double check.
Do you got to pay extra for the material?
Double check.
Fucking hell.
Medium? 7XL.
Jesus.
I didn't even know it went that big.
And Chris, what first attracted you to bodybuilding? And so were you like I was? I don't think you were like because I basically got into bodybuilding because I was little and I wanted to get big. Is it presumptuous to think you were always big, or did you?
No, it actually came from my uncle. He actually competed in the world's strongest man in
Wow.
7 years. So we're all big in my family, being Greek. So and I started training when I was about 13 years old, but I wasn't big. I looked like a little tiger, a little like Mickey Mouse, like this. little tiger. I was real baby, real small, you know. And then I went through puberty, and then I just started blowing up, and I just started eating, and I just haven't stopped since.
You haven't stopped the meal yet. It's still
No,
going.
I haven't. I love my food, being Greek, so I just continue ever since. You know, so
That's awesome.
And on the so just on the food thing, because I know that you do. A lot of people don't. And we were talking about this on the last part of the podcast, Kev. the importance of actually eating enough food to grow.
I actually heard
yes.
that Chris eats a kilo of meat per meal. Is that right?
Yes, that's 100% correct.
Per meal.
Per meal.
Per meal.
Jesus.
Per meal. I eat up to 3 kilos of meat a day, so each portion is around the 1 kilo mark.
What are you weighing?
You can blame my trainer Paul Haslam for that one.
That's a lot of meat.
What are you
It's a
weighing?
That's a lot of meat.
So you really like to swallow the meat?
I love my meat. I love my meat.
So,
I'm a real meathead.
so it's safe.
You must be shoveling that in like.
Oh yeah.
Like a salami.
So you've never had a vegan day before.
Oh, vegan. Me and vegans don't mix. We don't get along.
So what would you do if you're talking to a girl and she told you she's a vegan? Would you just stop talking to her?
I say I'm going to a meat steak. I'm going to a meat house.
Swallow
See
some
you later.
Chris, did you play footy or anything when you were a teenager?
Oh, I played a couple games of football in high school, a few games of soccer here and there, but it just wasn't for me. It just wasn't for me. You know, I can't keep up with those athletic guys. So
You'd be a good goalkeeper now.
Could be goalkeeper, but if you get wider
You
goalposts.
just do a lat. You could just do a lat spread. You'd stop all the ball.
Yeah.
William, what about you? Did you what's the genesis into becoming a bodybuilder?
Well,
for
I
you?
was a competitive swimmer growing up. I was a 200-meter butterflyer.
Okay.
Made it to nationals. Loved it. And as school went on, I had to decide if I wanted to do well at my HSC or continue swimming. So I started swimming less and less, and do a bit of weights in the weight room at the pool. And eventually it turned into more and more weights, less and less cardio, and slowly eventuated into bodybuilding over the last 10 years.
But you did do your HSC?
I did do HSC, and I went to university for 7 years too.
Oh, wow. So, well, that's
And
good.
someone mentioned to me, one of my clients might have been stalking you a little bit.
Okay.
And mentioned that you actually have a degree in fine arts.
Correct. So when I finished high school, I wanted to be an artist. I love drawing and printing and photography. So I went to COFA, I did an undergrad in fine art, majored in printmaking.
Printmaking?
So etching, lithography, photography. And then I switched across, did a Masters of International Business at Sydney the year after I finished my undergrad.
Impressive.
Yeah.
That's cool to see. Bodybuilders actually are multifaceted.
Well, got brains, basically.
yeah.
Oh, I don't know
Not
about
just
that.
meatheads. Not just meatheads.
Yeah.
Now, with Chris, we talked about your trainer, Paul Haslam, before, and you know,
Yes.
he's a guy we've known
Yes.
for years. He's pretty much an icon in the industry.
Yes.
However, you have copped a lot of flack over the course of the last few years. When, there's been, accusations of dodgy judging, and I've seen you've been flamed hard on social media a number of times. What apart from what's your take on it? Why do you think you get attacked a lot? Is there a bit of jealousy there, or do you think it's? Do you think something's warranted? I know some people think you're cocky. How do you respond to all that? What's your opinion?
Well, each to their own. See, social media is just open to anything and everything these days. You just can't control it. But at the end of the day, Steve, that everyone has their own opinion. Judges have their own opinion. You just go on stage, do your thing, and just go home.
Right.
You know, you can't question it, but at the end of the day, the judges have the final say. You just go on stage, bring your best, pose for the judges, not the audience, because the judges have the final say. Everyone at the end of the day has their own opinion.
Do you think so? If to play devil's advocate for a moment, if you were to, as you said, you've never lost a show, how will you respond if you come to Arnold's next year and you don't win?
I'll bite my tongue, smile for everyone. You can't win every show, that's expected. Just like we saw Phil Heath the other day. He's won 7 times, he's had a loss. He's bit his tongue, now he's working forward to the next one. You know, Ronnie Coleman has lost, Jay Cutler has lost. You can't win every show, so it's expected. It's expected. You just have to bite your tongue, keep moving forward. Don't give up, you just keep going.
So there'll be no hissy fits or...
No.
No,
absolutely
no
not.
broken trophies backstage like
Absolutely
others.
not. Absolutely not. Like, you can't win every show. It's expected, guys. You know, it's expected.
I think the measure of a man is how he deals with defeat too, and if you deal with that defeat, it makes you more attractive for future shows because judges know, wow, this guy would be an awesome ambassador for the sport, and he can handle those negatives really well.
You think there's anything else Chris can do to make himself more attractive?
Can
I don't know.
Can I just interrupt for a moment, because I lost quite a few shows and I didn't feel very attractive at all. Sorry, will you keep going?
I think you should go a beard, to be honest, Chris. You look a lot better.
Nah, I got a clean shaven, got a clean shaven.
I can't. Have you ever gone a beard, Kev?
Yeah, I have. 2 weeks and I got a full beard.
That's all right.
I can't do it. personally, I get to about this much, and it's about 2
A bit of
days.
salt and pepper.
And
Salt and pepper.
apart from the fact
There's a bit of salt and salt.
there's no salt, there's no pepper,
No pepper,
It's only
just salt.
I get to about this stage, and I can't stand the itchiness. I don't know
It
how.
goes. It passes.
You just
That
gotta-
and also
It gets to a
the
point
beard
where
and the shaved head thing.
yeah, you might look like a dwarf from Lord of the Rings or something.
I was going to say that.
I was going to say Suge Knight, but you know,
I'll go with
dwarf
that.
from
Oh,
Lord of
you
the
have my axe.
So William, you're obviously happy with it. Did you shave it for your show? You did, didn't you?
I did. I wanted to do a 90s bodybuilder and be clean shaven on the day.
Yeah.
So I rocked up on stage with a clean shaven face and I dropped water, so I looked like I was 18 years old again.
You did look young.
Yeah,
I get
yeah.
that.
I actually thought that picture was from several years back.
Yeah, it looked really different when dropped that fat in water and shaved the dirty beard fluff off. It's a different look.
The beard thing, yeah, I find I can't. I find it hard. I don't know what people are doing on stage with beards. To me, it just doesn't look right.
I think when you're on stage, you got to look professional, and I think when you're, if you're in your off season, do whatever you want, but you got to be presentable on that day because those photos last forever, right?
If you've got a good head, your beard it won't matter. Like some of those top level fitness and physique guys
With the
have
beards.
like that.
Yeah,
that's
I'm
right.
feeling it.
Angelo Lazar or whatever his name is.
Lazar Angelo.
Yeah, that's him. He's got a nicely shaped beard and he looks sharp.
Great abs too.
Now, Chris, Arnold's next for you, yeah?
Yes, Arnold Classic, Melbourne.
So what's your process now? You're deep in off-season now?
Belly deep in the off season, just trying to grow a little more, eat a little more, and then Paul and I are just going to sit down, figure out a game plan, and then we're just going to attack the Arnold Classic.
I'm just looking at Kev's arm compared to yours. I'm not going to even show.
How big?
Angle.
How big are those arms? 24.
Oh, Paul
That's
measured
23, I think.
Like about 12. So deep in off season. How many calories are you on at the moment?
Oh, Paul keeps changing my diet here and there. So he's told me the other couple of weeks, he goes, Chris, just get the calories in, just eat. You're smart enough, so you know what's good, what's bad. So just go into the kitchen, cook your food, and just get it in as much as you can. Just get those calories in, Steve. So.
Chris, what's your weight right now?
Weight currently is 133, Kev. 133.
Fucking hell.
So how many?
133.
So
And you're pretty lean. Sorry, Kev.
Yeah, relatively leanish, relatively lean. So we're doing our best to keep the body fat down, keep it to a minimum.
So for the boys out there who want to be 133 kilos, how many meals per day would you eat? Are you eating now?
Or I'm eating between 5 and 6, but
5 and 6
the
meals.
portion size is between 800 grams to a kilo
It's a lot of
Meat
carbs.
per meal.
Yeah,
per
wow.
meat. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how much carbs?
Oh,
How many
I
grams?
can't. I don't know how many grams of carbs or
I
how
know,
many
but how much
grams.
volume of food? Like so,
How many calories are
400
you doing?
grams of rice, 500, half a kilo of rice.
It varies.
Right.
It varies. So I eyeball it. I don't measure it. I don't just eyeball. I just couple scoops. I just eyeball it here and now. I'm not measuring.
How many
I'm not
plates of food are there in front of you?
I don't have
for
plates.
each
I got
meal?
platters. I got platters.
And is your parents own a chicken shop or something?
Yeah, they own charcoal chicken shop.
Yeah.
Do they actually
Terrible
make
way,
any
so.
profit at all?
When I come in and order my food, no.
I see you actually work there. What do you do for a living?
I run it.
Oh, right,
It's
okay.
mine.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
mine. I run it.
Where is that?
Out in
Do you want to
Kellyville.
give it a plug?
Shout out for
Yeah.
the shop. What's the name of the shop?
I run a takeaway in Kellyville.
There we
Straight
go.
out of Kellyville.
That's it.
Get some chicken into you, bro. Could get this big.
And William, you're in financial services. You
That's
run
right.
your dad's company, right?
Correct. So I work with my family's business. I was working in the bank for 8 years. Decided to leave the bank in February, leave the rat race and work in the family business. And yeah, we finance business and we work in funds management and we're the largest property advisory company in the country. So we write large commercial deals with an average deal size of about $45 million.
Jesus.
Can I get a loan, buddy?
For you, what's your costs on food each week, mate? $500.
Any other questions you've got for the boys before we go into the reason we're here?
Oh, just Chris, your goals, your sort of medium-term goals. Obviously, I think we all know that your ultimate goal would be to get your pro card.
Yeah, get the pro card and make it to that pro stage and ultimately get it to that Olympia stage. It's very, very
Do you have
hard.
a prediction on which year you will get your pro card?
No.
No.
No predictions. I'm just taking it one show at a time.
So you don't you won't care whether it's, well, not that you don't care, but it could be next year, it could be 5 years, it could be 10 years.
Yeah. I'm just going to try my best every show. Hopefully that show is the winning show.
Chris, your best body part, what would you think your best body part would be?
My arms and my legs.
And
Sorry, not my legs, my back.
How about your
My
haircut?
back.
How about your
I
haircut,
think
mate?
your best body part is your arms and your back.
Yeah. They just keep growing and growing. Like, I train my arms once a fortnight now because they just keep growing.
So me and Kev were having a discussion about your physique and your back in particular, and you're probably one of the widest people we know. Even there's not many pros that have your width. However, we constantly say to each other, the dude needs to be deadlifting.
Yeah.
To build this
thick
build
back.
this
The
thickness.
center of
This is going to lead to the next question, but before I get to that, what do you think your weakest body part is?
The center of my back. Because I'm so wide, Kev, I struggle to bring that definition right in the center of my back.
Yes, I was going to
Right,
say.
dead center
of
in the
your
middle.
back in here.
Dead center.
You're standing up, and when you're very wide.
Yes.
But when you flex your middle of your back there.
Yeah, that's the my
disappears.
leg body part. Yeah.
No,
That's
no.
why this year I've started rack pulling. I've spoken to my coach Paul, and he said rack pulls. We're just going to go as heavy as possible.
so
as
like a
many
half
sets as
deadlift.
possible. Half deadlift.
Yeah, half deadlift, a deadlift for girls, really.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
much.
it's,
For babies. That's the one.
Above
That's
the
one.
knees, you can you put 300 kilos on.
Have you mastered that girly lift?
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. I've mastered as heavy as possible. I've hit 300 kilo on there. So I've hit I do about 280, 300 kilos at about 12, 15 reps on.
So the sort of weight
that
that Nick Ockey reps out of
Pretty much.
on the floor.
off the
Yeah,
floor, off the
yeah,
floor,
pretty much.
off the floor. Yeah. I'm doing baby
And
deads.
he did actually because we were asking some mates what they had questions for you guys. And one of the questions he wanted to ask you was,
Yeah.
how do you feel about the fact that he out squatted you on the squat off?
Well, I'm a bodybuilder. He's a power lifter. It's completely different.
I guess it'd be like asking him to step on stage.
I have rough idea who asked that one.
Completely different sport.
I had another question from Jim Terrace, another great friend of ours and a great masters bodybuilder.
Great back.
He wanted to know when you win the Arnold,
Yeah.
who do you think will be your biggest competition going into the show?
Ooh, that's a tough one because the Arnold Classic, it's open to the world pretty much. Anyone can come in, so I can't answer that. Who's going to be my biggest
Okay.
competition?
Let's
All right.
rephrase the question.
Let's drop the fake modesty.
Let's
And
rephrase the
say on
question.
Australian level, who are you going to be?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Here we go.
Come on.
Well, if Jim comes in, Jim Tyrus comes in, he'll be the one to look at.
Against you? No,
Yeah.
Come on, bro. We're talking about pro qualifiers here.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to step on anyone's toes.
Nah, that's right. It's anyone's game. It's anyone board's game. Each to their own. Whoever brings in their best physique, Steve. So it's hard to say.
This is sounding really like one of those football post
Yeah.
games. Of the better team one.
Okay, let's rephrase that again. Who did you just ask who was the biggest competition?
Yes.
Right, okay.
Who's got potential?
Everyone's got potential.
No.
Everyone's got potential.
William, what do you think? You know the Aussie lineup? The Aussie got a lot of
What do
the
you
Aussie
think
guys.
of?
I know the Aussie guys.
Lucky. Look, Lucky's a good man. He's kept very quiet. He's been doing a lot of powerlifting shows lately, so he's kept very quiet. It's unknown of what he's actually competing in. It might be under 90s, might not. We don't know.
To be honest, I'd
He's
love to
keeping
see
very
Lucky
quiet.
come up.
Well,
man.
I actually-
Lucky back in the day, he was the shit. He was
That's
coming
right.
in good.
Yeah.
He was coming in good, and then he just went all out. He disappeared. He got into some nasty mess. So
Yeah.
he's back in business
Yeah,
now.
man,
So.
I'm really happy for him. It's
He's
just,
really back in business.
When
Yeah,
I
man,
first started bodybuilding, like he had the legs. I remember when I first started, I see photos of him online because he was great too, and he wasn't the tallest guy in the world too, so it was something to aspire to. And I think to myself, holy fuck, look at those great legs that he's got.
Yes.
Loved his physique.
Also, I like his sense of humour. It's very, very, self-depreciating humour.
What percentage of the overall result is sense of humour on stage?
Not a lot. But I get my vote for that. Like it's on my judging.
That's true. All right, boys. We're going to move to unless you have anything else, Steve.
I don't think so. Oh, I just wanted so back to the deadlift. Hazo, who's the Zen guru, man, probably the most just calm person I've ever met. He's
knowledgeable.
a fucking
I love
gentleman,
picking his brain.
and we really respect him. However, if I'm not mistaken, his thought on deadlifts is it thickens your waist too much.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
that's
is that why he doesn't want you doing it?
Yeah, so we don't want to blow out the waist too much, but also why we want to try to keep that V-taper look, wide back, small waist.
Okay.
So that's why he's got me doing rack pulls.
My thoughts would be, yes, that might be the case if you were doing like heavy single doubles like our mate Nick. But if you're doing a rep range of 6 to 8, but still heavy, really bring up the posterior chain, all that back, the spinal erectors that you talk about, glutes, hamstrings, would just make everything pop three-dimensionally.
If you're doing it slow, there'll be no reason for it to build the midsection. If you're doing a heavy strength type movement for a 3 to 4 rep range, you're going to build a really thick waist over time, and that's depending on how you do the form. But if you did it, as Steve said, 15, 20 reps, 130.
I wouldn't do that high.
If you had to,
Yeah.
like that high rep range, it doesn't blow the weight
my
down.
intercostals here, that has grown.
Yeah.
Since I was 20. When my first show,
Yeah.
I had a 27-inch waist. My last show, it was 32, and I was probably in better condition at that.
So the waist would thicken.
Moving on, the big O.
That's right. So the second part of our show, the Olympia, was last weekend, just a few days ago.
So what we thought we'd do is run through from the top down, from 10 down,
Yep.
and get both of yours opinion on how you think the guys went, what they improved on. And so just we don't want to cover everyone, but Steve Cooklow, I've never been a huge fan. I'm a big boy, but just doesn't really. I know I guess he's marketable. What yours?
He's very marketable. He's got that old man, grainy, vascular look. So he always comes in conditioned and just grainy and just ripped. He doesn't have the size as a lot of the Phil Heath, that kind of thing, or like the big rabbit, that kind of thing. But he's done his time. He's got that old man grainy look, and that's as far as he's going to go, pretty much.
Do you have an old man grainy look?
Depends which angle you get in, Steve.
I think he's highly marketable, and I think if you wanted to advertise him to a wide audience, he's very well spoken. And unfortunately, with bodybuilding, it's not just about the physique. Fortunately or unfortunately, the fact that he is so marketable means that he still does have a career outside of Olympia.
America.
The States, yeah.
Cedric McMillan, great potential. Always. He did well last year.
He done well last year, but he's 6 foot. He needs work on his posing. He likes to hide his weak points and expose his major points. So
wasn't that what you're supposed to do? Hide your weak points.
But this is Olympia. Okay. This is Olympia. When another athlete sees your weak points, he will attack it.
Yeah.
Cedric will close it.
Yeah.
Dorian won with no bicep.
Yeah, and a torn tricep.
Yeah, that's right.
Just on that, he said you attack the other competitor.
Yeah.
I always found it odd. I'd go backstage before shows and I'd be saying hi to everyone. I was just happy to be there.
You're just a good guy. You're just a good guy.
Cedric's very quiet.
But no, what I mean is, but you get some people being staunch backstage, trying to psych you out.
Yeah.
It's not like you're getting in the ring with these people, you know. I'd always.
Steve, they've watched Pumping Iron too much.
Yes, and the thing that psych you out.
Yeah.
I find that hilarious.
It's not a boxing fight. It doesn't work out
No,
like that.
exactly. It's a foregone conclusion. It's what's done. So I always used to have a good time. I was a funny boy. Anyway, Nathan Yasha. He's got potential up.
He's coming up the ranks.
Yeah.
He placed top 10.
Yeah.
He was at 8. He was at 8. That's right. And last year he was about 13th, 14th, around that number there. He's coming in very, very good.
Yeah.
And he's still got that small V-taper waist,
correct.
the wide, thick back, the thick, dense muscle.
Did he come in shape? Was he? Because
he came in shape.
Grainy earlier.
He came in shape. He came in shape. Not as much as the others, but he's coming. He just needs a couple more years to develop.
Future top 3. That's all I can say. He's a bit of a shit talker on his Snapchat or Instagram, wherever he wants to say, "Oh, put me next to Mr. Heath. Put me next to Mr. Heath."
He actually said, "Put me next."
Yeah, he begs for it before the show.
He
called him Mr. Heath, so still showed a bit of respect there.
Can I get you to sit to the side? Because it's just looking a bit weird, like you're just talking.
How's that?
Can you talk to?
He's taking up the whole screen.
No, I don't mean that. I just mean maybe talk to me because I'm feeling a bit left out. Like that.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's much better.
Yeah.
Dexter.
Oh, the vampire.
Why is he the vampire?
Because he's ageless, supposedly.
Okay.
That's why.
I thought he had some sort of blood protocol.
Maybe. I wouldn't be surprised.
Graphics, what is he? How old is he now? 40? Is he 49 now?
He's
48?
Yeah, 48. Just under
65?
50. Just under 50, yeah.
Jeez.
Let's just say, he's won the O, but this year he was off.
Is that Albert Beck
Dexter.
you're talking about?
Yeah.
Steve Reeves. Charles Atlas. Sorry.
I think
He's one of the
People.
best. He's one of the best. The fact that he's been competitive the whole time Kevin Levrone was coming out of bodybuilding, had that whole break, and the fact that he beat him at his last show when he came back the year prior just speaks a lot about
Looks
him.
like he's doing a tutorial.
Yeah.
Sorry.
what?
Sorry. Looks like William's doing a
Oh,
tutorial.
yeah.
No, yeah.
Fine. Anyway, sorry. Now the big letdown of the whole show.
Big
for a lot
Ramy.
of people, Big Ramy.
Yeah, let's just say I had exclusive access backstage, and I was getting a lot of video calls and all that sort of stuff. He actually broke down backstage.
Well,
actually-
can we write about exclusive access?
Yeah, to
From-
Protein Australia.
Oh, cool.
Okay, she was back there spraying all the athletes,
Yeah.
and she kept video calling me. I was getting constant updates because the live feed kept dropping out.
Would you have liked to have been back there spraying all the athletes?
I would have loved it. I would have loved it.
Would you
I
spray?
would've
Would you
loved
spray
it.
their
With any
glutes?
particular athlete you'd like to spray?
Really?
So if you were in a dark room with Will,
I don't care where it
I
is.
said, Chris, could you spray me?
I would have sprayed him.
All over, or just
Everybody's ass.
But you got to spray with your tongue, but you got a tongue spray.
okay. So, all right, well, maybe we should.
Would you have put any on his face?
Oh,
Oh, shit.
Okay, so
Next question.
oh,
So,
you can tell the sort of stupid humour.
Rule is your favourite.
Oh, clearly.
You got a special spot in your heart for him.
Special spots on. Oh, fuck. Can you make the next person, please, William?
Yeah, fuck it. So we have big Brandon. Fuck me. Number 5, Brandon Curry.
Brandon
Curry.
Camel Crew, man.
Yeah,
Brandon Curry.
that anabolic chicken crew.
Three.
Fuck
He's
yeah.
only my height, man.
He's very short.
Yeah, well, I didn't say that. I said he was my height. I didn't say he was short.
Yeah, he's quite short.
What went wrong with him?
Let's just say virtually the whole camera crew except Ruley and Brandon Curry brought the noise. Okay, something's going on in the over there in Kuwait, in which I will find out what's going on. But Brandon Curry, man, he's just came in full as a house.
Too full?
Just not just too full. He's trying to bring the size game. He's trying to catch up to the big boys. But his condition was on point. But if he keeps getting bigger, the condition's going to go.
What did you think of his posing?
His posing was very good. His posing was on point. He held his own. Let's just say that. He held his own on stage.
Future Mr. O, you think?
When you say
Not for a long
held
time.
zone,
In the lineup, he held his own in the lineup.
not Rami.
Nah,
No, not Rami.
Rami was just too much.
His t-shirt, Mr.
It
Olympia.
was just too much.
alright, next.
William Bonnick.
William Bonac,
Great physique.
great physique.
Now, he is very short.
He's like what, 5'2"?
He's not 5'2".
3 foot.
Yeah, 3 foot.
He's about
yeah.
3 foot.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of muscle on him.
I'm 6 foot.
Yeah. He's like this.
Yeah.
So he's about Lee Prieside.
Yeah.
Yeah, shorter.
Wasn't he
He's
5'4"?
No, he's
Shorter
about
than
2 foot.
Yeah.
No, actually, his cock's 2 foot.
Really? Lee Priest or Bonnet?
Lee Bonnick.
Right.
Rolly Winkler.
Oh,
Oh, here we go.
Really?
Yeah.
I think he looks like a science experiment.
let's just say he's going to bring something different next year.
What does that mean?
I spoke to a lot of people over there, and they're experimenting.
Oh
They're
shit.
He's
Experimenting with what?
him
What?
with Ruley with the size and condition. He's only going to get better now.
With new shit that we've never heard of.
Yes.
But
Yes.
Chris, in all honesty, I mean,
Yes.
like, obviously, you know, people-
Myostatin inhibitors, all that
Oh,
shit.
even better than that.
Or vegan protein.
This is the
Even
thing.
better than
This
that.
is the thing. I mean,
I saw him at 6 a.m. of the show when Andrew sprayed him. He just looked phenomenal.
Really? Wow.
Absolutely
have
phenomenal.
you sprayed him?
No, I wish I did.
You get to spray one
Like,
day.
the amount of detail that man's got, it's just phenomenal. Like,
Do you think he'll ever get
his
to
traps
the-
were striated.
Do you think you ever get to massage you?
Me? No, I'm not going that far.
I see we'll spray him.
I'll spray him.
Oh, boy.
By the way, Rolly's my favourite
Really?
bodybuilder. Yeah, I love Rolly.
He's a freak.
I love him. Like, I love those massive arms. He's like one of those cartoon characters from the 90s, right?
He trained here a few years ago.
Oh,
and
that
he
would've been
was on
mad.
He was on the hammer. I don't use it. The squat thing that went for people who can't squat.
Which one?
The hammer machine.
Oh yeah,
Hammer squat thing.
Yeah.
Which bikini girls do the opposite way around.
Yeah, that's right. You know, get the things around the knees.
What the fuck is that?
What the fuck is that?
But he was on that, and his quads and hammies were they were nearly as thick as they were long.
That's
right?
crazy.
Like, so he's amazing, and this was before he really jumped in size.
Yeah,
freaky.
I'm just seeing him.
He's actually the second most impressive pro I've ever seen in life, in my real life.
Who was the first?
He's the most improved.
Oh, probably Joshy. When Joshy came to City Gym last year, I was blown away. I was like, holy fuck, you were just so thick.
Let's just say Josh Arnold is coming back.
I'd love to spray him. I would love to spray him. I'd love to spray him everywhere. Spray everywhere.
Okay. Okay, so the last two, Phil Heath, Sean Roden. Was it close?
No.
Points-wise, it was.
No. Physique-wise, no. Phil Heath came completely off, highly watery around, especially around the midsection of the legs.
And the legs, yeah.
And his stomach was just too bloated, and he could not control it on stage. Everyone say it was probably because of his hernia that he had the operation early in the year. We don't know. We can't confirm that. So let's just say he lost a lot of points because of his midsection.
Prior to the result coming out, people online were saying that he still won 5 out of the 7 compulsory poses.
It's all debatable. That's all debatable.
It's debatable, and the thing is, he's known as Mr. Saturday Night, right? Always in the second part of the shows in the last few years, he's always come back stronger.
That's true.
There's been
in the final.
Exactly, he comes back more aggressive, and sometimes he can win back any lost ground, like 2015.
Yeah.
Now, what happened this year? He only lost by 1 point in the pre-judging, and even though you can visibly see, even just from a TV screen, that the two physiques were night and day, and I loved what Sean Roden brought. If he was only 1 point behind and he was more aggressive, possibly by the finals on the night show, he might have been able to win it back.
I don't know, man. I see some of those poses, like his most muscular. The rear delts are starting to get lumpy and a bit sort of pointy looking. Yeah. The stomach still looked. There was no detail. His physique looks like, to me, it looks like it's starting to fall apart. You know, and just the consequences of what we have to do to compete. Well, I'm saying we, like I have, what they have to do to compete at that level is just taking its toll, as we talked about earlier. As it has done with Ronnie, with Jay, with Dorian especially. Do
you think it's going to be like when Ronnie lost to Jay and he's going to try to come back next year and try to win it back?
I think he will, like we were talking about. I think he will.
Yeah.
But I don't think it will. I don't think it will end well for him.
Do you think to an extent that when they win the Mr. Olympia, they're shown as these unbeatable gods, and then when they lose it, it's just that much harder to win it back?
Well, they always say, Sean Ray's always fond of saying, you've got to knock out the champ. You can't just beat them, you have to knock them out. So I don't know why there's a boxing analogy there, but you know. But Sean Roden, man, like I think it's a great thing for bodybuilding. Great result for bodybuilding.
Great result.
Chris, what do you think?
He brought the size of condition. He pushed Phil, and Phil left the door open, and Sean just walked straight through it. He said, "Look, I'm going to get you on condition." He said at the press conference, "Your front double bicep is crap."
The door that he went through, that he left open, should he have just maybe put a padlock on it?
I can't. Not with that gut. Not with Phil Heath's gut. There's no padlock big enough for that gut.
Roden's physique is much more.
It's more aesthetic, pretty to look at. It's
Kevin
more nice
is
to look
aesthetics.
at.
before there was aesthetics, there was Kevin Allwood.
That's
you
right.
look at his photos. No, seriously, you look at his photos.
There you go.
And so, your opinion, Kev, on Roden?
Roden's physique brings back the top contenders of the 90s, the Flex Wheelers, Kevin Levrone, even like Milos Sarcev and all those top guys that were in the top sort of 6, even Sean Ray, even though Sean was shorter, much more beautiful bodies to look at.
Tight.
Realistic too, not freaky massive.
Yeah.
And I personally was never a fan of the freaky massive. Like even when Dorian was winning, I was a fan of Sean Ray.
Sure.
And Kevin Levrone.
Yeah.
Like, now I like Dorian. I love Dorian's physique from when he was winning.
Yeah.
But then when Ronnie took over the reins, I never liked his body. And I've never liked Phil Heath's physique either.
You weren't a fan of the 40-inch 4-pack?
Too blocky. Nah, I wasn't.
Chris, what do you think? Do you attribute the round sort of bloated look as is it insulin and growth? Do you think that's is that the result? Do you think, or is that why they have that look as opposed to rodent who has like a grainy sort of dry look, or is it just
The main thing, Steve, is the tapered waist.
Okay.
He's got a narrow waist and with great abs.
Mm-hmm.
That was the key. That was the major thing that stood out to everyone.
Does that mean he's used less drugs though? I don't know, or is it just?
What do you
think?
The question.
It's hard to say. Every physique is different, so you can't say it's due to this or it's due to that. It could be very well just overeating and just stretching the stomach line. You don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know what he's doing behind closed doors. So
that's right.
That door again, man.
Maybe the fact that he had the hernia felt like he had some size to gain real back quickly, and it's quite possible that Phil pushed it too hard, had too many calories, and then when he came back on stage, he just had too much food in him over the months leading up to it and pushed out his gut.
Do you think Phil maybe eats 1.2 kilos of meat per month?
Who knows? And it's like, take me for example. When I eat one of my meals, it looks like I'm 6 months pregnant. But come 3-4 hours later, it's digested down.
Sucks in.
Because I'm always eating, my stomach just gets bigger and bigger.
One more guy to mention, Flex Lewis.
Yes. Well, I've got the 212 guys here. I mean, I don't know if we want to talk.
No, don't worry about that.
But yeah, Flex Lewis.
Flex Lewis, 6 years in a row has he won?
Seven.
Not seven. All right, and the rumour is going around that he might step on stage with the big boys
That's
next
the plan.
year.
He opens, yes.
So, how do you think he... Okay, firstly, how would he have fared if he was on stage on the weekend?
Okay.
Or on the main stage?
Well, I think a good way to kind of compare it would be another shorter bodybuilder. And I know William Bonak's completely different in the sense that he's so much heavier, but if you put them two together, what would be the difference? William Bonak would be so much bigger than him when it would come to the legs, the arms, the upper body. It wouldn't even be a comparison. Now, I just think he'd be completely undersized. But having said that, you've never seen him push a stage weight over 212, so it'd be really interesting to see if you could come in dialed in at 230, 235.
Exactly. Yeah, I was going to say, William, as you said, like Flex has to kill himself to get under 212 and actually lose muscle to get there. So it'd be interesting to see what he looks like when he considers sort of 220 or 230 if he could get that weight and attain the same sort of condition.
A modern day Lee Priest.
And for the past, I think 2 years or 3 years, he's only just made weight by only a couple hundred grams. So he's really pushing it real close.
Yeah,
real close.
Will he make top 3 next year if he comes in at 230?
No chance. No chance. Don't see it happening.
He's going to take a few years off. Spend time with because he's retired now. He's going to take a couple of years off, raise his family, things like that, and then maybe in 4 or 5 years, we don't know when.
Do you have a direct line to what Flex Lewis is doing as well?
I wish I did.
Not just Rami, only Rami.
Rulychat.com.
Ruly. I haven't got his address.
Who?
Rulies.
Okay. You should give to Williams.
No.
Well, any other questions that you got for the boys, Kev?
No, that's pretty much covered it. I think it's been a pretty good show.
William, so we didn't ask you, what are you looking at doing for your next show?
I want to do IFBB.
As you should.
Compete in the under 90s. So
are you doing? So you're not going to be doing the men's bikini?
No, I'm not going to do men's bikini. I can't find any nice bikini bottoms to suit me. So Chris is going to lend me some of his old gold G-string posing trunks. Thank you, Chris. And
do you think they'll be too tight at the front?
It'll be too tight for me because I've got a bigger penis.
And just on that, not your penis, but on your body parts.
Yeah.
What do you consider your strong body parts and your weaker body parts?
Yeah, of course. I got pretty strong quads that tied into some pretty underdeveloped hammies. So I like to bring up my hammies a lot this year. And I've got these big retarded-looking shoulders that swallow up my arms. So definitely want to grow these arms over 12 inches next year. So that could be good. And as for the back, generally quite wide back from years and years of butterfly.
Right.
And I like to put a lot more meat in the middle.
And again, I don't see you deadlifting off the floor either.
I do deadlift off the floor.
Off the floor?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I started deadlifting 2 weeks ago. I was in surgery for my shoulder.
Yeah.
Now that my shoulder's getting better, I'm back on the deadlifts. So every second back day, I'm doing deadlifts and pendulé rows.
Which one, sorry?
Pendulé rows.
Really?
It's a bent over row, but it touches the floor each time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know that had a name.
Yeah.
Pendulé.
Yeah. Pendulum. I don't know. I just saw it on YouTube and it works pretty well for my lats.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. And Chris, so we know you're going for the pro card at the Arnold?
Yes, I'll be pushing very hard.
When do you start your prep?
Late November, early December. going to go through Christmas and things like that. I've done it before, so we're going to see what happens.
And what sort of calories do you go down to what's the lowest you go down to for your prep?
Calorie-wise, probably I hover around the 4,000 or 5,000 mark.
That's your lowest. That's your lowest.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
awesome. That's awesome.
To try and keep as much size as possible, because as soon as the food gets taken away.
So would it be more than 10 now?
It's up there. It's probably
Around
8 plus.
8
It's 8 plus.
But this is a
somewhere.
real lesson for people that are trying to grow, because obviously, if your calorie intake isn't high enough in the off season,
You're not going to grow.
You just
where are you
won't
going?
grow,
You're not going to grow. Where are you going to go in your diet?
That's like think of it this way, Steve. I've been taught. Okay, if you want to grow, you have to eat. It's like a newborn baby. When a baby gets hungry, you have to eat. That's why the baby keeps growing. Oh, look at this guy outside me. Yeah, so
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
mate, if you want to grow, you got to keep eating.
Chris, when you could do your competition, how much cardio do you do in the 4 weeks leading up to the show?
I do cardio as soon as I start dieting.
Okay, and what's your
I'm
cardio?
doing cardio now.
Oh, yeah.
I'm doing cardio now. Not for long. Probably around half an hour, 45 minutes.
Right now.
He's
actually-
right now doing cardio. He's actually got a
He's on
machine.
a
He's
bike.
flexing his calves every second.
Okay, I think that wraps about up. Well, I thought we might finish with asking the boys to get their shirts off and do a post.
Oh fuck me. Okay.
Come on, man. What do you think, Kev? Oh, let's all.
I'm not taking
No, we're not. We're not.
No.
But how about William and?
All right. Yeah. All right.
Let's go. And if the music man's ready, pose down.
All right, let's hit a couple of front double buys, boys.
And strike.
No, that shit.
And let's let Chris have his
Actually,
spot.
Steve, move to the side, and William can sit next to.
All right,
Chris.
yeah,
Let's
okay.
just get out of the way.
We'll just get out of the camera shot for a moment. Just sit up there.
Move this way a little bit, Chris.
Under the light, yeah, it's good.
Oh, he's a big boy. Look at that. Look at that little golf ball compared to that basketball.
All right, guys. Chris, thanks very much.
All good, Steve.
That's
Take
like
your time.
I was
All
still
good,
flexing. We're not done yet. Show us your back. Okay, do your back.
I can't tell you, mate. Yeah, no, thank you. You're out with me. You're bigger than me.
This is the Push Podcast. Do we want to say shout outs to some sponsors? We'd like to thank ASN Darlinghurst on Oxford Street. Go there for all your supplement needs. Kev,
And
Fit Food Fresh.
Fit Fresh Food. What about Nick from Gemtech?
And we say fet, not fret. Fresh, fit, not fit. If you're a Kiwi.
Fit and fresh foods.
And,
City Gym, the old City Gym, the mecca of bodybuilding and training in the eastern suburbs in Sydney. Anyone you want to plug, Chris?
Protein Australia, they're going to be here in about 2 weeks, spraying for the New South Wales.
If you want to get sprayed, go to see
Come
Chris.
down.
Chris is
I'll spray you.
all over your face.
So,
We out.
Peace out. Peace out.